Hola, soy la señora Quintanilla. I'm a New York City World Languages high school teacher, and together today we will enter a breakout room, a saloncito. If you're learning remotely or if you are in blended learning where you and your classmates are not in the same place, you're still going to be able to practice your speaking. We call this interpersonal communication, and you'll see it in the Practiquemos slides. Perhaps you have experience during remote learning or even at times before the pandemic, those dreaded seconds right before your teacher puts you in a group and then the teacher says you speak to your group. Not only do you have to speak and talk with everybody and in front of everyone, but the teacher says that you have to speak in Spanish. In this video, we will go over some Spanish that is so deeply embedded in our brain that we may not even know that it's there. Okay, now let's use all the Spanish that we know, plus a few other phrases provided by our teacher and maybe our notebooks, our libretita de apuntes, and let's enter a breakout room together, a saloncito, where a teacher has asked us to do a few things. Our teacher has asked us to look at an image and then take turns saying what we see in the image, all in Spanish. Our teacher has also given us a task. The task, again, is to look at an image and discuss in Spanish what we see. Then our teacher gives us a process of how to do this. We have to decide on roles, like who's going to take notes for the group or who will start the discussion. And then we will take turns asking each other what we see on the image and responding to each other as well. And then we will also we won't have to decide on a person who will report in the main room, el salón principal, once we are done with our group work, or our saloncitos. But before we enter the breakout room, the saloncitos, let's think about some of the Spanish that we know already. Some of the Spanish that we already know how to do, how to say. Spanish that you can arm yourself with as you enter the saloncitos. Then we will enter a saloncito together. Let's review some of the Spanish that we already know, some of the Spanish that we have learned, and take it from there. We know how to greet our peers. Maybe we already know how to introduce ourselves to someone, and also how to answer a few simple questions. Maybe we already know how to say hello and goodbye. Hola, buenos días, hasta luego, hasta mañana, buenas noches, even ¿cómo estás? All of those phrases are Spanish that we already know. We also may already know how to introduce ourselves to someone else, right? We can say, me llamo María, me llamo Carla, me llamo Pedro. Some people even say, mi nombre es Pedro, which is also fine, yeah? And we can answer a few simple questions already in Spanish. We can respond to yes or no questions. For example, ¿te gusta la manzana? Sí o no. Sí me gusta la manzana. Or you can, another question could be, ¿estás ¿estás feliz? Sí, estoy feliz. ¿Eres de Guatemala? No, no soy de Guatemala. We also know how to sometimes maybe respond to what, when, and where questions, like ¿de dónde eres? Soy de Queens. ¿De dónde eres? Soy de Manhattan. ¿De dónde eres? Soy de Brooklyn, or soy del Bronx. Or you can say what, right? ¿Cómo? ¿Qué? ¿Qué te gusta hacer? Me gusta bailar. ¿Qué te gusta comer? Me gusta comer pizza. Or where questions. ¿Dónde? We already did dónde. Okay. When questions. ¿Cuándo? ¿Cuándo es tu cumpleaños? Right? Some of these questions we may already know. Also, we may know, we can respond with some phrases that are memorized. That are also very useful in any language to have like a phrase that you can use. For example, repita por favor, or no comprendo, right? The Spanish that we already know, that it's already in our brains. We can also use gestures to say yes or no. We can do this, we can do this. All of those are communicating something. So you can use that in your saloncitos as well. Okay. How about, well, we already, yes or no questions. I already explained something like, ¿qué te gusta? Me gusta comer, me gusta bailar, me gusta la pizza. You can express that, your preferences in Spanish. And you can respond to either or questions about your preferences. ¿Te gusta la pizza o te gusta la hamburguesa? A mí me gusta la hamburguesa. A mí me gusta la pizza. Prefiero la hamburguesa. Prefiero la pizza. All of that, it's Spanish that we already know. Take a look at this Spanish. We already know how to count 1 to 10. So that's Spanish that we can arm ourselves with as we go into Saloncitos. You can say the date. Hoy es lunes, martes, abril. Hoy es miércoles. So you have all that Spanish there with you already. Perhaps the months of the year and maybe even the seasons. The seasons. Es primavera, es el verano, es el invierno, es el otoño. We can also probably name famous landmarks and some famous people. For example, la Estatua de la Libertad, el Parque Botánico, el Zoológico del Bronx. Okay, maybe you can definitely name some countries in Spanish on a map. Mexico, España, Peru, all of those words, it's Spanish that you can use when you are in a saloncito. And then, of course, you can list some items that you see every day. Mesa, ventana, carro, zapato, all of that Spanish is here, and you can use it during your breakout rooms. And when it's time to introduce ourselves to the entire group, not just one person, that's also something that we already know. We can say our names. Hola, amigos, me llamo María. Hola, amigos, soy Pedro, soy Jason. We can give our phone numbers. If we already know how to count 1 to 10, we can give our phone numbers to people. Mi número es 5, 8, 4. Even if it takes you a little bit of time to say it, all of this Spanish is fine. And believe me, the more we practice in Spanish, the easier it'll come to you. Believe me and trust me. Before we start our saloncitos, let's review what we have to do once we get there. Our teacher gave us una misión. ¿Qué tenemos que hacer en saloncitos? Tenemos una misión. Our teacher gave us un proceso de cómo hacer la misión. ¿Cuánto tiempo tenemos para la misión? ¿Dónde escribimos? ¿Necesitamos escribir para la misión? Ese es el proceso. Our teacher also gave us some apoyos. Ayuda, algo que nos asista mientras estamos en el proceso para lograr la misión. And our teacher wants to see a product. Nuestro producto final, ¿qué creamos juntos? ¿Qué creamos juntos? Again, we have a task. What are we supposed to do? In this case, look at an image and say what we see, right? And answer and ask each other's questions. We have a process that our teacher gave us. Okay, how we're going to do this. How much time do we have? Who's going to go first? We have our roles set up. Our teacher gave us support, some sentence starters, some vocabulary words, or some things that we already know, right? Some sentences or phrases that are going to help us through this process. And our teacher wants to see our final product. Our final product will be our conversation about what we see in the image, but in Spanish. Let's enter our saloncito, our breakout room, and let's greet each other in Spanish. Sí, en español. Saloncitos is a great place for all of us to practice our Spanish, to practice our language. Don't be shy. We can help each other out. If you don't remember something, or if you don't remember how to say something, this is a safe place for all of us to help each other out. Now, let's look at the image, which you will have seen before you go into Saloncitos. But let's look at the image that our teacher wants us to see and uh, talk about in Spanish. And let's start the discussion. Empecemos. ¿Qué ves? Before you answer me out loud by yourself, it's okay. I would like for you to take a look at the infographic and perhaps think of the answer before you say it aloud. Yeah? Okay. ¿Qué ves? ¿Qué piensas? ¿Qué piensas? Okay, so those are the phrases that you will hear a lot perhaps during a saloncito when our teacher wants us to describe or to talk about an image, okay? ¿Qué ves? Could be classmate one, and your peer may answer, yo veo números. Yo veo el Empire State Building. Yo veo una manzana. Yo veo un mapa. Yo veo edificios. ¿Qué piensas? Yo pienso que es interesante. Yo pienso que los números son increíbles. Yo pienso que hay muchos números. O yo pienso que hay muchos idiomas en Nueva York. Then your classmate may ask you, right? One classmate is the green box, another classmate is the blue box. ¿Qué más? ¿Qué más? Your classmate may prompt you to see what else you see. ¿Qué más? ¿Qué más? To get them for you to tell more, to say more things. ¿Qué más? Yo veo la temperatura, o yo veo la temperatura es 20, 28 grados centígrados. Yo veo que el Empire State Building tiene un zip code solo para el Empire State Building. Okay? Remember the Spanish that you know here. Remember, if you don't know some of the words, it's okay. But the words that you remember in Spanish, let's say them in Spanish. Es hora de volver al salón principal. Let's get ready to go back and join our classmates, and let's get ready to share all the things that we talked about in our saloncito. What if you are in blended learning and you're not in the Zoom meeting when the saloncitos take place? How can you have a conversation with your classmates, with your peers in a breakout room when you may not even be in the same place? It may be a little tricky, but there are many ways to share your thoughts with your classmates in a breakout room. You can always record yourself and then share a hyperlink so that your classmates, your peers in the saloncito can hear your thoughts, and you can share your ideas. If you are in groups in blended learning, perhaps, then there's still, because we're still maintaining protocols for the pandemic, and you may be separated from your peers, you can still record yourselves. There are different ways that you can contribute that way. Your teacher can definitely guide you as to how to record yourself, your opinion, your answer, what you see on an infographic, and share it with your classmates. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you found this video entertaining. I hope you learned something new. Try to always use all the Spanish that you can during class and maybe even outside the classroom. Help your friends to stay in, and also help your friends to stay in the target language. Hasta la próxima. Nos vemos pronto.